Hello everybody and welcome to Stand. We've got a very special show today, a 4 PM show with my very good friend Ricky, and we're going to be covering Harry Kane potentially being Erik ten Hag's top target. Erik ten Hag ready to get rid of Martial in the summer. He's not happy about it. And also news coming out about a midfielder, Mason Mount on the cards, Caicedo, De Jong, Bellingham, all names getting linked to Manchester United. Also going to be previewing the Southampton game as well, and we'll end up going off on a few tangents as well, but there's a lot to get into. But Ricky, we'll start with the news that is coming out, and obviously it was reported a few weeks ago that Erik ten Hag preferred Victor Osimhen over Harry Kane, that he wanted more of a young, maybe striker to come into Manchester United. But the Telegraph is reporting today that Erik ten Hag's priority is the recruitment of a top-class centre-forward to fill the void in that position. Harry Kane and Victor Osimhen are the leading targets, but Harry Kane is potentially Erik ten Hag's main priority over anybody else. What do you think about that?
Harry Kane's a great player. There's no two ways about it. You know, he's looks very much like he's going to break the Premier League goal scoring record. I think that's probably why he wants to stay here. So you can't argue with that. As much as they always say, it doesn't matter who scores the goals. If you've got someone who can guarantee you the amount of goals that he scores every season, and it's not just the goals, by the way. He does everything. Harry Kane. He works hard. His link-up plays, control, his passing. The passes that I know obviously this is for Spurs, but the way he often puts Son into great positions, he's just a top class player. Now obviously if we do get him, I think I'm right in saying he'll be the wrong side of 30. But
yeah, well, I think he's 29, just about to be 30.
Just about to be 30. So, you know, you get 3 years out of him, or 4 years, maybe more, but I think I would be more than happy if they signed Harry Kane. I'd be jumping through hoops to sign Harry Kane.
Well, this is the thing. It's what, for me personally, I look at it and I think if I had the choice, I would pick Victor Osimhen as the person to come in. I really like the look of him, and I like the fact that he's younger. He's got, you know, he's got his prime years ahead of him, if you know what I mean. But also at the same time, if you said we're getting Harry Kane in the summer, I'd be absolutely buzzing. I'd be over the moon. He's a brilliant player. He's a brilliant player.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
What do you think about Osimhen? Because I know you watch a lot of Serie A, don't you?
Yeah. All right, Kane is a good player. He's a different type of player, robust. You know, runs the channels well. So he's a different type of player. Harry Kane can do all those things and more. You know what I mean? So he's a different type of player.
Not got the pace though.
No, not quite got the pace. No, but he's a top player, Harry Kane, and I would be more than happy with Harry Kane. More than happy. You're never 100% certain when you buy a young player and bring in a player in from another league whether he's going to hit it off. It's all right saying you'd be all right for a longer period. He might get sold in 12 months, 18 months. He might not crack it. You know what I mean? I think Harry Kane's a safer bet.
Well, I think Harry Kane is the safest bet out there. Like, you know he's going to come in and he's going to score goals because he's done it in the Premier League time and time again. Like you said, he's going to break the goal scoring record. So you know 100%, well, you can never go 100, but you know it's going to work out. Very high percentage, like it's going to work out. I mean, Samuel Luckhurst as well, he's a very credible journalist, has tweeted out, Harry Kane is Erik ten Hag's prime striker target to reinforce the MUFC attack in the summer. But also apparently Bayern Munich are in the race. You said he probably won't want to leave the Premier League. Do you think Harry Kane at this point in his career thinks, I have to make a move from Tottenham? Surely he has to, if he wants to win anything, you would have to think he wants to make that move. And could you see it being that like Robin van Persie type signing where, you know, that could be the missing piece?
It could be. To answer your first question, though, is he going to want to stay in the Premier League? I don't know the lad personally, obviously. You do read these stories. You never know what's 100% true. I can imagine he'd love to break the Premier League goal-scoring record, but at the same time, he'd probably love to win the Champions League as well. And we'd you know, what would he rather do? If he signed for Bayern Munich, he's got a fairly reasonable chance of winning the Champions League. You know what I mean? So, you know, if he signed for us, it'd be to try and break. Although, fingers crossed, we'll be in the Champions League, but we're not normally, in recent years, decent competitors in the Champions League. If I was a player and I wasn't Manchester United through and through like I am, and you offered me Bayern Munich or Manchester United at this moment in time, I'd go to Bayern Munich.
Oh, really? I'd go Manchester United.
It's easy to say that when you're a United fan. I'd say the same. You know, I would.
Premier
but
League's best league in the world.
If I wasn't a United fan. Yeah.
Best league in the world. And plus, I genuinely think, Erik ten Hag, I think we can compete in the Champions League next year. If we sign the right players this summer, I definitely think. How much do you reckon? He's got a year left on his contract. How much do you reckon you'd pay for him? 29-year-old, nearly 30, Harry Kane in the summer.
Spurs are difficult to deal with, aren't they? They drive a hard bargain, even at his age. I mean, what we're thinking, 100 million maybe.
I think you can't go over 80 of the year left on his contract, because realistically they have to cash in on him, because he's not going to sign a new contract, so he could go for a free on the following year.
They'll be playing mind games with each other, won't they? They'll be saying, you'll be reading stories like Bayern Munich are interested, you know, you'll be reading stories like Manchester City are interested, that'll be drummed up by his agent and stuff like that, and then, you know, there'll be people with the alternate argument that they've got Haaland, they don't need Kane, and all this sort of stuff will be happening. They'll be, you know, playing cat and mouse with each other. Yeah.
I just want to ask you, before we move off this topic and we move on to Anthony Martial, I want to ask you, you've watched Osimhen, you've watched Kane. If I ask you now, Ricky, you get the deciding vote. Who would you sign in the summer if you had to pick one or the other? Who would you go with?
Harry Kane, without a doubt.
Without a doubt?
Yeah.
And I know, and Ricky, by the way, guys, he watches a lot of Serie A. I know that for a fact. And you're going Harry Kane without a doubt. The chat is very much on the Osimhen bandwagon. I would just go for Osimhen. I've obviously watched more of Kane, but I have watched Osimhen quite a lot. I mentioned him for quite a while now on the show. Just got that youth ahead of him. I think he's got more. He's got pace. I just think he's going to be our striker. Do you know what I mean? If we bring him in, Harry Kane. But then again, people would say Osimhen could leave on a transfer in 3 or 4 years anyway, so he's one of them. But both brilliant strikers. I'm team Osimhen. Still doesn't mean I wouldn't like Kane. I'm trying to get the chat to like me, and when I'm about to go into here in a minute. I'm joking. And Ricky's team Harry Kane right now. But I mean, bringing a striker in, Ricky, it might mean that people are going to move out, making money. You know, got to stick by financial fair play, depending on what owners we get. We won't even get into that subject because that's a subject in itself. But it's been reported, try not to cry, hold back the tears, hold back the tears. MUFC intend to sell Anthony Martial in the summer, again coming from Samuel Luckhurst, who works at the MEN, quite close with the club. What do you think about that?
I'd love to know how close he is with the club and exactly where the information's coming from. He's an easy target, Anthony Martial, because lots of the fans, you know, are not particularly keen on him. Obviously, these injury problems are a big blow for anybody who is a Martial fan, like myself. But also the serious injury problems that he's having, or the lengthy injury. I don't think they're serious injuries, but the lengthy injury problems. It might not make it that easy to sell him for the sort of value that you'd expect to get for him.
I was saying this earlier. And
also on top of that, I've said this time and time, I'm not just saying this because we're talking about Anthony Martial. We don't need to swap a striker for a striker. We need an extra striker. Do you know what I mean? Are we going to keep Weghorst? I don't know. I'd keep Weghorst. But if we keep Weghorst and we were to get Harry Kane and Anthony, I don't rate Marcus Rashford as a number 9. I don't care what anyone says. He's, on the left, he's doing all right. Number 9, he's not good enough. He doesn't hold the ball up well enough. So I don't like Marcus at 9. And I know he sometimes plays him there and he plays Weghorst at 10. And it didn't work at weekend, so he switched it. He switched it last night, and Rashford went on the left. Rashford's
better on the left.
Yeah, Weghorst. I mean, Weghorst isn't everybody's cup of tea, but he's okay at 10 and he's okay at 9. Different style of player. You know, he's more robust. He works hard. He gets the ball down. He tries to bring players in. Completely different player to Marcus Rashford. Some will say he's not as good, but trust me, I think the manager prefers him as a number 9. He wouldn't play. I don't think he would play Marcus at number 9 ahead of Weghorst. If, I don't know, who could we have? If we had somebody on the left wing who was good enough to keep Marcus out, I don't think Marcus would be in at number 9. I think it'd be Weghorst. It's the style of play that he plays with, as opposed to Rashford's style, which is trying to run in behind, chasing balls. Scored a great goal last night, but coming in off the left again, you know, Weghorst was at number 9. I think Weghorst. Look, it's obvious he didn't make any changes last night. Didn't make any changes. We got beat 7-0. I won't say it again. We got beat 7-0 at the weekend. Weghorst played at 10. Rashford played at 9. Bruno was on the left, and he just switched it all round. Obviously, we're not playing against Liverpool. We switched it all round, and it was better in every department.
Yeah, it definitely was, and there was multiple reasons for that. We've spoken about that. And Give It to Mickey says, we definitely need a striker, but the squad is 5 players short. I agree. We definitely need to strengthen the squad in the summer. There's multiple positions I think we need to improve on, and it's definitely not the finished article. And I mean, we're going to speak about a few of them in a minute. And Louise says we need Osimhen and not Kane. Interesting takes from everyone. And Jonathan George, how could you not want Harry Kane? He is a Premier League proven goal scorer, and has him said Martial will run his contract out. I see it. Another Phil Jones. That's
how long has he got left on his contract?
That's harsh. I'm not sure, you know. if someone could tell me how long Martial has left on his contract, I'd greatly appreciate that, because it can't be that long. It feels like I think he signed another one during the holidays.
It must be 2 years.
It must. Maybe. I think he might have signed a 5-year deal, something like that.
So it's not like he's going to run it out
Ricky,
next year.
You didn't answer my question. How do you feel about if we sell him? You said you were getting a bit sick of his injury.
I am getting sick of his injury problems, but if we're going to sell him, I hope he don't get fit. You know what I mean? No, we need him. We need him fit. We need him fit this season. And I'd be gutted if we sell him. I'll be gutted when he goes, but I'll watch him wherever he goes. I'll watch him as often as I can.
You flew to Seville to go and watch him when he played for Sevilla, didn't you? I remember you doing that. That was hilarious when you were doing your little Instagram reels. Best player on the pitch.
He was as well.
No, his deal expires in 2024 with the option of another year, I think it was. So thank you for that. So still a long way. Oh, wait, we're in 2023. So basically 2 years, because it depends if we trigger the extension. I mean, you usually do trigger the extension on things like that, but it'd be interesting to see. I mean, he is fit now. Ericsson has said.
He's on the grass.
He said today in the press conference he's got to be cautious with him, and they've got a plan in place. But he is training with the squad. But I just think if he plays, it's a bonus. Like, I don't count him now because of how injured he actually is. But quick question: would you sell Martial if it meant getting Kane in?
Kane's got a great injury record, hasn't he? He's a bit older, though, isn't he? I mean, Martial's about 26 now, and he's not that far behind. Is he 26,
yeah, Martial's
27?
20. I think he's 27 now.
I'd probably... look, you're forcing me into a corner, Beth.
27. I've got to ask you the difficult questions.
Yeah, I'd probably say yes.
You would?
I'd probably say yes, if it had to be one or the other.
That's killed you to say that.
It's killed me.
Well, he's not completely insane, everyone. There is some sense left in him. No, I can understand it. It's just it's the injury problems. If it was a fully fit Martial, you wouldn't, would you?
No chance.
But yeah, I mean, apart from striker, there's also the midfielder that we need to look at, and reports coming out from the Telegraph again that Erik ten Hag wants to sign another pedigree midfielder. I think we definitely need it. We're definitely missing Eriksen, aren't we?
Yeah.
With the likes of Frenkie de Jong, Jude Bellingham, Moises Caicedo on the radar, he also admires Mohamed Kudus and Mason Mount. When you're looking for a midfielder in the summer, what type of midfielder would you want Manchester United to go out and get?
A player who looks after the ball well, passes it well, moves well. Makes himself available, Frenkie de Jong, if you like. But when you're looking at midfielders, Eriksen, fingers crossed, will be fit. He should be fit by the end of the season, I believe.
Yeah, he said today that he's going to be back, but just not before the international break.
Right. Okay. So he's coming back fairly soon, then. Yeah,
hopefully.
By the looks of it. Yeah. So we're going to have Eriksen. We're going to have Casemiro. Whether we'll keep Fred, whether we'll keep McTominay, I don't know. But if we do, how many midfield players can we have? I think Sabitzer's not going to stay. But I like him. But
I like him. He's just not at the game time,
no,
has he?
He's not getting the game time. And he's injured at the minute, isn't he? Another one who's injured. We probably do need it. We do need another midfield player, no doubt about it, another quality midfield player. But if Eriksen gets fit, that new quality midfield player, if Casemiro and Eriksen are playing all the time, he might not get as much game time as you think.
I think if we signed a Frenkie de Jong, which is, I think it's Erik ten Hag's main target. Yeah. I actually think we will sign him in the summer. I think this is the summer that we're going to get Frenkie de Jong. I mean, print the t-shirts out again. Oh, Mark will hate me for that one. But I just think, like you said, everything you described there is exactly what Frenkie de Jong does. He looks after the ball, he can carry the ball. We don't really have a ball carrier in the team. Me and Charlie were speaking about this. I think he's better than Eriksen, Frenkie de Jong, I do. I really, really like Eriksen, but I think then it gives you more opportunity to rest Bruno because you can play Eriksen in that position. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can change it up, you can use your squad, and I think that's super, super important. So Frenkie de Jong would definitely be a great addition. I mean, Jude Bellingham, there's no chance, right?
I wouldn't have thought so. Another top player. I mean, it's all right saying we're interested in all those players. We don't want too many of them. We want to get the right one. Yeah.
Well, Elliot Holstrom says sign up-and-coming players, not high-profile ones. I mean, it's easier said than done. The recruitment has to be right. You're looking right in their recruitment's absolutely amazing, isn't it? And you're looking at our recruitment team maybe hasn't been on that same level. I mean, we passed up on Camavinga. Well, we didn't pass up on Camavinga. We could have gone and got Camavinga for, I think, 25 million it was. Apparently, someone from the MUFC scouting said that there'd be no point because he'd be in the under-23s for a couple of years first. He's playing first-team football for Real Madrid. Bellingham, again, missed out on that opportunity. Moises Caicedo, who's in the list, who's now touted to go for at least 70 million, could have got him for 2.5 mil. I mean, there's players that we've missed out on, so you can talk about getting the players in, but it's a really tough job to know, which players are going to work out and which players aren't. I mean, apparently we scouted I think it was 100 and something right backs and came to the conclusion that Wan-Bissaka was the right one to go for. Right now, he's looking really good, but there's been patches where you think, really? At 180, that's the conclusion he came to. So the recruitment team hasn't been the best over the years, so it's easy to say that. You need someone that is definitely going to come in and perform. Sometimes these big money signings don't actually do that. But one thing I would say to you is there's been a bit of controversy over the Mason Mount. Graham Potter's been speaking about it. He said it's a really important contract for Mason Mount. He'll let him discuss, decide what he wants to do and what his decision will be. He'll have to wait and see. But a lot of uproar in the fan base saying we shouldn't be going for a player of profile like Mason Mount, overhyped English player. He's going to 50 million's too much money. He's not good enough to be in our side. What do you make of Mason Mount? Because I'll tell you what I think after. What do you think? I
think he's a good player. Again, you just said there that people are saying he's not good enough to be in the side. I say this on every show. You can only play 11. He might not get in the side, but you do need a squad. You know what I mean? So I do like Mason Mount. He can play as a 10. He can play wide right. Probably playing central midfield. I'm sure he has done on a few occasions.
He can play as an 8. He can play as an 8. So, he did for England.
I've seen enough of Mason Mount to know that he's a good player, Mason Mount. I won't be against us signing him. But I also agree that he might not be an automatic starter in the lineup. Yeah,
I was about to say, I tweeted out yesterday, unpopular opinion, but I actually like the idea of Mason Mount. I actually think Mason Mount is a good player. He's in a bad spell of form, but there's definitely a quality player there. You've seen him play. I mean, I thought in that Champions League final against City, he was brilliant. I mean, there is definitely a player there, and if you're not paying over the odds, is a player that will play starting minutes but also can, be rotated as well. I think it'd be a good option, but people did seem to be against it. And see, the chat's already coming in. Mason Mount, he's rubbish. He's not, guys. He's not rubbish. He's a top quality player. He's just not in a good vein of form at the moment. And was Mason Mount bad, or is Potter and Chelsea bad? Perhaps it wasn't the player but the squad underperforming. I do always say this. It is really tough to play in a side that's underperforming. It is really tough. It's like when Jadon Sancho got first thrown into, I know Mason Mount's been there for a while, but when Jadon Sancho got first thrown into Man United's team, we were a really poor side at the time. You can't expect a player to come into it and be really good in a really poor side. It's like when Gakpo first came into Liverpool. Liverpool weren't doing great. And he didn't. Everyone was writing him off, saying he was rubbish. And now he's starting to look good because they're playing better as a team.
Exactly.
So you've got to think about that side of things, but it'll be an interesting development anyway to see kind of what happens about that. I mean, people talking about him converting Kudus into an 8, who's played with the Ajax. That could be an option, but I think it's gonna be Frenkie de Jong. I just think it's Frenkie de Jong now. Barcelona have to get money in. They have to. I think they need to raise about 120 million in the summer. We already had a deal in place for 80 million. Ten Hag's main priority. He's come to Old Trafford, seen what it's all about, got beat. Realised Manchester United's on the up. I think it's the time for him to come, but I know you never know what's going to happen. But I hope so. I hope so. I know you're quite pessimistic about these sort of things.
I'm never not optimistic about signings. I always like to wait and see who we get and then make my mind up.
I think you'd be over the moon with Frenkie de Jong, though, wouldn't you?
Oh, I would be, yeah,
definitely. I mean, moving on to something that made me happy this afternoon when I opened my laptop up and looked onto Twitter, and it's not in a bitter way at all, it's just in a way that I'm actually glad that the coaches are seeing issues in the team and they're looking at potentially finding other options for this issue. And it is, coming from the Telegraph again, that MUFC have scouted Diogo Costa, which is obviously Porto's goalkeeper, but although Ten Hag likes Brentford's David Raya. And obviously, it's reported Raya's not signing a new deal, he's refusing to. Apparently, he could get him out of Brentford for around 20 mil in the summer. We were at the game last night with each other, weren't we? And I said to you, obviously, people are best happy. I'm not happy it's happening. I'm just glad that people are actually seeing where I'm coming from. I was saying to you, this distribution thing, it's really becoming a problem. It is becoming a problem. Erik ten Hag said himself, he got asked in the press conference, do you see David De Gea's kicking as a concern?
Oh, did he?
He didn't answer it. He just said, we're working on it. We're improving. So the fact he didn't answer it is a yes. He's obviously not going to come out and say that about his player, but What do you make of David Raya? Because I know you watch Brentford. Obviously, you watch Brentford quite often.
Yeah, he's a good keeper, isn't he? And his distribution looks sound to me. I won't be against us signing him. We probably need another keeper, don't we? With the backup keepers are probably not up to the level that we'd have, so whether that we would normally have. So if we were to get another keeper for around that sort of figure, there's no, you never know for sure whether it'd be to actually be the starting goalkeeper. But there'd be no harm in having him there whatsoever. Yeah,
there's literally no harm whatsoever. And plus, when you think about it, I don't think David Raya's come in and De Gea's automatically going to get sold in the summer. I don't think that's going to happen whatsoever. What I think is you bring David Raya in for that price, you give him games. If Ten Hag prefers him to De Gea goes to the bench. David Raya comes in. If De Gea isn't happy with the game time he's getting, then in the summer, next summer, he could look at getting a move if he's not happy about it. Right, and then if David Raya isn't able to displace De Gea, which I'm almost certain he will, you've only brought him in for about 20 mil, so it's not maybe as expected, but I definitely think it's a brilliant option to have, 100%. And whereas you look at Diogo Costa, I mean, the buyout clause, I think it's 70 million. It's going to be a lot of money. Up-and-coming goalkeeper, he's younger than Raya. A lot of people are saying he's like the Alisson mould, but in the World Cup, he did make a few mistakes. It's a lot more... If you bring Costa in, I feel like it's a lot more pressure to come in and be Man United's number one for that price, if you know what I mean.
I agree.
But I definitely... Do you think we need to be looking at another goalkeeper?
I don't like jumping on the bandwagon with that, but his kicking has been letting him down badly, and last night it was horrendous, obviously, it was. I saw a few people remarking to you that, have you tried kicking a ball in the wind and the snow, do you know what I mean? But, he's getting paid a lot of money to do it, and he should be able to deal with it. He's kicking, well, even the manager didn't like to answer it, did he? I don't want to just jump in on him and say it was terrible, but it was pretty poor last night.
Yeah, it's so you think we need another goalkeeper? Now, do you know what Ricky does? He goes about the questions and he doesn't actually answer them. It's like interviewing a politician. Do you think we need another goalkeeper? Yes or no?
We need to improve De Gea's distribution or get another goalkeeper with good distribution.
See, I'm getting answers out of him. I know his games at this point. I know his games. I've clocked onto it because he don't want to be proved wrong, do you?
It's not that. No, it's not that.
I mean, we've got some comments coming in the chat. Isn't the goalkeeper's main job stopping shots? Of course it is, but you need more than that in the modern game. I'm pretty sure you need more than that in the modern... Well, I'm 100% sure you need more than that in the modern game. And yeah, a lot of people disagreeing with me, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine on that subject. I mean, everyone's got a different opinion. What Ten Hag did say, though, is he is improving, and he did also blame the snow, and he said it was a different ball.
So he did say that, did he?
Yeah, but sounds like an excuse to me, if I'm being honest. But when you're a professional, I don't. Bravo didn't really have a problem, did he, at the other end? Do you know what I mean?
Conditions are the same for everyone, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Bravo didn't miss kick it. He was finding people left, right, and centre. So, I mean, it's one of them. But we'll have to see what happens. Ricky, now we're going to talk about something that I think you like to talk about, the now, don't you? You like to talk about the now, and we have got Southampton coming up on the weekend. Tough game, Eric Ten Hag said himself. They beat Chelsea a couple of weeks ago. Away as well, and we're at home.
They did us a big favour knocking City out of the league.
Yeah, they did us a really big favour. It's a dogfight at the bottom of the league right now. Who knows who's going to go down? It's super close. They're going to be fighting for every single point. They've seen we just got beat 7-0. They're going to come and they're going to put a game to us. What are you thinking about that game? Do you reckon it'll be a strong 11 again?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see the exact same 11. I wouldn't be surprised one bit. I'm not saying I'd do that, but I think the manager might. I was pretty surprised last night that he played the exact same 11 that played at Anfield. But now that he's done it and it's come off, with a good result, 4-1's a great result. I'd have took a 1-0 win if offered it last night. So, I think he'll stick with the same 11, and I think he'll expect another good win as well.
Are you expecting a win?
I'm expecting a win, yeah. I won't say I'm necessarily expecting a good win, but I do think we can win, yeah.
I know, sorry, I'll get the super chat in first. Nick P said, Beth, it's okay to say a lot of people disagree with me. And other stuff. I'll leave that other stuff to Mark, and he says Mark does it all the time. Yeah, I know. It's all about opinions. About opinions. And do you know what? It doesn't make me happy to get proved right. It really doesn't. But it's just like I think people are starting to see it now. A lot of people got a lot of messages last night saying, I'm sorry. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. Fred Flintstone says, on what basis do you think Raya could replace Dave instantly? A lot of keepers crumbled after Schmeichel left. Because David Raya obviously plays in the Premier League, so, you know, it's different playing for Brentford than it is United. Of course it is. I 100% get that. But he's not. He's actually 27, David Raya, so he's not as if he's a really young player. He's got confidence. He comes off his line confidently. He collects crosses with confidence. He can distribute really well. I've seen him get pressured in many different occasions against top teams, and he's dealt with it really well. I just believe as an overall quality goalkeeper, he definitely has what it takes. I think it's going to be one of them players when he actually goes to a top team, because he's going to leave Brentford in the summer, and I think Brentford are a quality team, don't get me wrong, but when he goes to like a top 4 or top 6 side, I think people are actually going to start considering him as one of the best in the league. Yeah,
if they're not already.
Yeah, if they aren't already. I know a lot of people think he is like one of the best in the league, but I think when he goes there, he's going to be put into that category. Do you know, with the top goalkeepers that everyone always mentions. So, I mean, let's just wait and see what happens. Apparently Spurs are looking at him as well. Chelsea having a little look. So there is going to be competition, especially for that price. Spurs are in desperate need after Hugo Lloris goes. But at the end of the day, I think if Man United go in, I think they'll get him.
I do as well.
I think they'll get him. I think as a keeper, you'll be looking at that situation thinking I can go in there and I can get the #1 spot as well. I would anyway, if I was looking at it. But, I mean, a lot of talk about Wan-Bissaka, Ricky. We've talked about this subject quite a lot, but I want to bring it back up. I know you wanted to save a few Dalot comments for when Faz was on the show, but the consensus in the fan base is that Wan-Bissaka is in better form than Dalot, therefore Wan-Bissaka should be starting games. What's your opinion on that?
Well, like on the show last night, Faz was ripping into Dalot saying how poor he was in the first half. So I didn't get home till quite late. It was about 12 when I got home, so I didn't have a chance to watch the full game. That's before anybody jumps on me and say, why didn't you watch Wan-Bissaka? It was gone 1 o'clock by the time I'd watched the first half. So I thought I'll have a really good look at the first half, but I was concentrating on Diego Dalot, and he was absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. He hardly put a foot wrong. When you're at a game and you're getting all excited and you want your team to win, you don't want your players to make mistakes, it's easy to take your eye off the ball and not to realise which players are playing well and which players are not playing so well. And I've watched that game, that first half back, and in the first half, Dalot, he did miscue a pass back to De Gea that De Gea had to head away. Other than that, he was absolutely superb, and he got in some really tight situations where he had to use quick feet to get out of difficult situations and find a pass. There was one ball that was really difficult that was bouncing. He was facing his own goal, and he played a pass with the outside of his boot to somebody 10 yards away. He was absolutely different class, Diego Dalot, last night. Why, people might say, why did he take him off? It might have been a plan to take him off. Wan-Bissaka and Dalot, they're both playing well and they're both competing for that spot. But, you know, I'm going to give it Faz next time I see him, and I'm going to see if he wants to come and watch it with me and let him show me what he saw, because I can't see it.
Hey, look,
I can't see it.
I love that argument. Whenever like, obviously you said Bruno played well yesterday, but whenever Ricky used to thought Bruno played a bad game, when I'd said Bruno was good, he'd say, Beth, come and watch it with me and show me. I'm still waiting for you to show me what he did well.
Show me the good bits, I'll show you the bad bits.
But no, I'm quite liking that little duo of you and Faz that's kind of developing on the forum. Honestly, it's so funny. I mean, I can't wait for him to be on the show and for you to put that to him. But I mean, comments coming in saying Diogo wasn't bad, but Wan-Bissaka came on and changed the game. And Ten Hag's probably trying to get him into form. Dalot never did anything wrong in that game. People are agreeing with you, Ricky. Why do people...
Didn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah.
Did not put a foot
a lot
wrong.
of people saying Wan-Bissaka has improved and Wan-Bissaka... Dalot's not bad, it's just that Wan-Bissaka's in better form. Do you think he's in better form?
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with Dalot's form. I really don't. We were asked last night who would we choose this weekend, and I said Dalot. And I think, having watched it back, I said to Faz, I will go and watch it back, and I will then say what I think. And I've watched it back, and I'll be absolutely stunned if the manager changes it at weekend. I'll be shocked.
I don't think he will. I think Ten Hag prefers. I think Ten Hag prefers Dalot, but Wan-Bissaka's definitely getting more of a look in. I said personally
great
for me,
backup. He's playing well. There's no two ways about it. He's playing well, but you know, I think Dalot's playing equally well at least. Well,
I said personally for me, I'd start Wan-Bissaka at the weekend. I'm a huge Dalot fan. I like Wan-Bissaka. I like them both, to be honest with you. But I actually think watching it, Wan-Bissaka's just had the edge recently. So I would actually start Wan-Bissaka. I think he deserves a start. especially because Dalot started the last couple.
In injury time of the first half last night, the ball was running out for a dead ball about a yard from the corner flag. And he kept it in, Dalot raced after it, and he kept it in, not with a touch, but with a first-time cross. And a first-time cross, it was literally a yard. And I've only realised this from watching it back last night. I'm not sure there's another player in our squad who could have put in such a good cross from such an awkward position, racing full pelt towards the dead ball line near the corner flag, and he got it right over to the back stick. And I honestly mean, I don't think... But think about some of the crosses, even in good positions where they're standing there looking at crossing it. You see Bruno put crosses in this eye sometimes. You see Anthony putting crosses in that eye from the other, from the wing as well. I'm not sure there's another player in our squad that could have done what Dalot did. I really don't.
Not another player in the squad?
Not another player in the squad. Interesting.
This is the thing, I'd have to watch it back to actually have a look and comment on it, because when you're in the game, you're so kind of like in it, that certain things kind of do pass you by. But I mean, a lot of people saying I need glasses because apparently people are saying Wan-Bissaka's better than Dalot in the chat. But I mean, start of the season, everyone was saying sell Wan-Bissaka, and that Dalot was the best thing since sliced bread, weren't they? So things change in football, form changes, but I mean, people saying even Shaw, Ricky, could Shaw not do it?
Not on that side with his right foot, no.
You always have to be right, don't you?
That's an interesting one, by the way. We were talking last night about and I've watched the goals, but I just watched the first half and I fast-forwarded it and watched the goals and I went to bed. But we're talking about getting the ball in from the right-hand side with the right footer or from the left-hand side with the left footer. Of the 4 goals last night, obviously Anthony scored his curler. That's the left-footed player from the right. But if you look at the first goal, Bruno crossed it from the right with his right. The second goal, Shaw crossed it from the left with his left. And the third goal, not the fourth goal, Pellistri crossed it from the right with his right.
Yeah.
We need to get players crossing the ball from the right with the right and from the left with the left. You know what I mean?
I need to get a T-shirt and put that slogan on it for you. I really need to get a T-shirt with that slogan on it for you. I mean, people get in the chat. Do you want that T-shirt with Ricky made? Honestly, no. But talking about that, I mean, I want to get on to Rashford getting Player of the Month again, and then we'll bring in Pellistri because I really like the kid. But Rashford had his fair share of critiques from you in the past. Premier League Player of the Month twice in a row, and Man United Player of the Month twice in a row. Eric Ten Hag also got Manager of the Month this month. De Gea got Save of the Month. Good month for Manchester United.
Great month for individual awards. It's not an individual game, though.
Oh, it's not. But also, I wanted to bring in there, Rashford's had Manchester United's Player of the Month the last 3 in a row, Premier League the last 2.
Who votes for it?
The fans. The fans vote for the Manchester United one for sure, and I think they vote for the Premier League one as well.
Okay.
What do you agree with them?
No. He's scoring goals. There's more to the game than scoring goals. He's scoring plenty of goals, but you need players. You need players playing better in different manners. And to me, the defenders. I've spoke about the defenders till the cows come home. Apart from the game against Liverpool, but from the game against Liverpool, of course, Rashford couldn't get a kick in the game, could he? Do you know what I mean? Martinez deserves it. Varane perhaps deserves it. Shaw perhaps deserves it. And we've got a player who's putting the ball in the net, and that's all the fans see. It's all they see, and that's it. He gets the votes. Yeah, I mean, he is playing really well, I have to say. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think he's playing okay and scoring some goals. I mean, last night he's running down blind alleys again. We were sat together last night, and we saw him running to the corner flag.
Goals do win your games, though, Rick. They win your games.
Fantastic goal last night. I agree. But clean sheets, I know they don't win your games, but if you can keep a clean sheet...
Got a better chance.
If you can keep a clean sheet, anybody can nick a goal. If you look at our goals recently, by the way... The goals have gone up from other players, haven't they, suddenly? Marcus was scoring the goals a short time ago, and we weren't scoring too many other goals. I mean, if we could just go back, like we got 4 last night, and he scored 1 against West Ham. Did he score? I don't think he scored again. Did he score against West Ham when we got...
No, we didn't.
So we're getting more goals at the minute without him having to...
I don't think we're relying on him.
I don't think... People were thinking that we were relying on him for goals, but we're scoring plenty of goals without him necessarily scoring them at the minute.
Yeah,
I think he's scored 2 in the last 5. One of them's the goal at Wembley. Look, I'm not saying I want him to take it off him, but it was an own goal. It was an own goal. I've seen people arguing about it on the TV. It's going across the face of the goal.
It'd be harsh not to give it him.
I think it'd be harsh to give it him.
Really?
Yeah.
It was going. It was if it's on target. you should get the goal.
It's not on target, Beth.
I thought it was.
I'll tell you who I saw arguing about it. Andy Gray arguing with Richard Keys, and Richard Keys said to Andy Gray, they both agreed that it wasn't on target, but Richard Keys said, and this is a to me, it's a childish way or a young fan's way of looking at the game. Richard Keys actually said, who's an ex-old, a grizzled pro who was a goal scorer himself, and Richard Keys said to him, he said, the way he's played this season, doesn't he deserve it? What's that got to do with it? Said Andy Gray. What's that got to do with it? It's either going in or it isn't going in. Doesn't matter how he's played for the rest of the season. So it's been given to him. But so he's got 2 goals in the last 5 games, but really it's 1.
Well, that's such a weird logic.
Really, it's 1. No, it's not a weird logic because it's in the history books. You know what? The VAR and. VAR has really changed how the game goes forward now. Before VAR, the people probably scored, people who hold records, because people love these records, don't they? So think about it like that. Marcus Rashford might end up as the top goal scorer ever in League Cup ties. In League Cup football, possibly. And I don't know who the player, it might not happen, it might happen. So the player who comes second will be going, well, hang on, that's an own goal, what to give him that for?
Do you reckon this is going to actually be a debate in years to come?
Well, it was the other year with Harry Kane and they're all looking at these records, aren't they? Harry Kane wants to break the Premier League total, the Premier League total. The other year, Harry Kane I think he was given a goal where he was competing with somebody, was Jamie Vardy perhaps at the time? I can't remember, for the leading goal scorer in the Premier League. And he was given the goal and people were saying, really, it's an own goal.
Let's just put it this way. I think if the goal was scored by, I don't know, Varane, might not have been given, mightn't it? Might have been an own goal. It's just the way football is at times. But I would have given it him, probably because I've got the young person's point of view. I've got the young person's point of view. I mean, you're not going to like this chat, Ricky. Eric Seventag is a genius, says, Shaw transfer value is 28 million euros and he's fairly basic. He's not Champions League standard.
Who? Luke Shaw?
Yeah. Gotta laugh at that, aren't you? Oh, you're not even going to bite back onto that one.
No, he's different class.
But, I mean, Pellistri, a lot of people saying he deserves more game time. Every time he's coming on, he's looking dangerous. People saying that low centre of gravity, carries the ball really, really well, gets into some good areas, makes good decisions, good crosses. Do you expect him to potentially get some game time against Southampton? Knocking on the door at all? Not from the starting, but maybe off the bench.
Well, Beth, it's hard to say because what you're doing is you're predicting how the game's going to go, really. I definitely expect him to get a game time if we're winning 3 or 4-0. Definitely expect him to get game time if we're drawing 0-0 or losing 1-0 with 10 minutes to go. But, if we happen to be winning and it's fairly tight, if we're winning 1-0 or we're winning 2-1, I don't expect him to get game time. So a manager can't just think ahead, this player's going to get game time. It depends on the situation.
Would you expect his overall game time to start going up?
Definitely. I love him. I think he's great. Last time I saw him at Old Trafford before last night, I thought he was brilliant all the time before. And I'd love him to get more game time.
The thing is, it puts you in a difficult situation because the starting front three, the preferred starting front three right now is Anthony, Weghorst and Rashford, isn't it? That's the starting front three that Eric Ten Hag goes to while Martial's injured, and the way it is at the moment, that's the starting front three. You look to the bench, you've got Garnacho, who's regularly coming on as a sub. You've got Sancho, who realistically is a senior player who you've paid a lot of money for, and then you've got Pellistri, who is kind of a little bit down the pecking order, but I don't know if that's fairly. I think it's just the way things are right now. But as you say, there's only 11 places on the pitch, and there's only certain one player for each position. I mean, does that make it more difficult when you've got maybe Sancho? It might not be in the best form, but he's probably preferred just because he's more of a senior player.
It's a bit difficult. Talking about form when players are getting substitute run-outs. I thought Sancho was okay last night. I mean, when did he come on last? He didn't come on at Anfield, did he?
He came on in the Carabao Cup.
Matter, does it?
Came on in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
He looked all right in that game.
I need to see a little bit. Look, I don't think Sancho's form's too bad. I think it's all right. So I won't mind Sancho starting, to be honest.
Do you see him as a left winger or a right winger?
I prefer to see him on the right, but they tend to use him on the left more often, don't they? It's just the wrong way round all the time, isn't it?
You need a add. Do you know what I'd love to see? An Eric Ten Hag and Ricky class on inverted wingers. I think you disagree quite a lot, wouldn't you? I mean, he's kind of in the boat that you know. He's obviously a massive fan of inverted wingers.
It looks that way.
Rashford on the left. I mean, Sancho now playing potentially on the left. Anthony's playing on the right. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Ahmad because he's left-footed and he usually plays on the right as well. So he's a bit of an inverted winger, doing very, very well. Very, very well.
Don't forget what I said to you last night with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Now that Pellistri's come on, Weghorst has got more chance of scoring, and he's gone through all this length of time without getting a goal, and then he comes on in effect for this much time and he gets a goal. Let's try it more often. Yeah,
definitely. I think it's getting to the point now where Eric Ten Hag can't ignore it. Like, he can't ignore that every time Pellistri comes on, we look more dangerous. But then the argument back is, well, at that point in the game, you know, fresh players coming on against tired defenders, you know, it's a lot easier to come on at that period of a game, do you think? Do you agree with that?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
I said that to you a few weeks ago when Rashford was getting the goals towards the end of the game after Weghorst had gone off. I actually said to you, you've more chance of scoring goals late in the game, and they've kept him on and he scored. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what it is, Ricky? Ricky's memory when it comes to football is honestly unmatched. I wish he'd forget a few things sometimes. You can't say anything. He could remember something I said last year about Luke Shaw or something like that, and he'd bring it back up. But no, yeah, he's a good impact sub, and that's the way... that's the way Garnacho's kind of starting off as well at the moment, and Garnacho obviously looks like a really good player. But I mean, if you look at the future, you look at Pellistri and Garnacho, such young players. It's exciting, isn't it? It's exciting.
Of course it is. Yeah, definitely.
They both look really, really positive every time they come on the pitch. They look confident, and I think Eric Ten Hag's doing a good job. I'd like to see Pellistri a little bit more, if I'm being honest, but we'll have to see. Now, Ricky, because it's coming towards the end of the show, I know you don't like hypothetical stuff like this, but I'm asking you anyway.
Can I bring up an hypothetical thing? I loved what you said on the show the other week, and I don't think you realised how good it was.
Oh yeah, you said you wanted to bring it up.
You said on the show the other week that even if we would have played our reserve team, we wouldn't have got beat 7-0. And you don't realise how good that is. Football, obviously you've got more chance with your better players playing, but fate can take a hand. And if you look at a game, and then you say, if we would have done this, or if we would have played that player, what you are then doing, you're then going back into the past and you're suggesting that they're starting with a different player. So what you said, if we'd have played our full reserve team, we probably wouldn't have got beat 7-0. 7-0 such an unusual score. We almost certainly wouldn't have got beat 7-0. If Liverpool would have played a third or fourth division outfit in the FA Cup, they might not have won 7-0. They might have played 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. You know, it doesn't. 7-0 such a rarity. So, if you would have just changed one player, people think that. How can I explain this? You've said you could change the whole 11 for all the weaker players, and we might not have got beat 7-0. So, if we'd have just changed one player for a weaker player, we still probably wouldn't have got beat 7-0 because you're going back into the past, and once you change something, you change everything. Everything from that point. When you change it, everything else changes. And if I go back to when we played Arsenal away, and if I'd have said this at the time, people would have looked at me like I had two heads. And there'd probably be one or two people in this show who might say it. Because McTominay played at Arsenal, there was a few people saying, if Casemiro would have played, we would have won that game. You can't say that because you're then restarting, you're changing the past. You've got more chance. But it's a different game. It's like playing the game again. We could play that game again tomorrow against Liverpool with the exact same team and we won't lose 7-0. We could play it with one change. We won't lose 7-0. You're just changing it. It's fate that takes a hand rather than the good player. So if I'd have said at the time, if Casemiro would have played against Arsenal, we would have got beat 7-0, people would have laughed at me. But now that that's happened, Arsenal at the time were 20 points ahead of Liverpool. I'm not suggesting for one moment it's because of the player. I'm just suggesting that you can't predict what's going to happen in a football game. If you change something in a football game and then play it again, you still can't predict what's going to happen. So the mere fact that we've lost the game 7-0 with Casemiro playing, it's possible, it's feasible that we could have lost 7-0 at Arsenal if he would have played. just through fate, not because of ability, just through fate. If you change something, you change everything.
But you can say we have more of a chance of beating Arsenal if we play
Without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. You've got to. You can't look at it and go, oh, I'm going to play my weaker players because fate's going to take a hand. I'm talking about once it's happened. If you want to talk about what would have happened if you'd have done something different, you're predicting the game from the start again. So you can't. It's completely stupid to say if we'd have done something different. It definitely would have been different if you'd have done something different, but you don't know in what manner.
Yeah.
It might have been worse. Might have been better, it might have been worse. All you can say is, we'd have had more chance. Yes, granted, you'd have had more chance. But who would have thought, with Varane and Martinez and Casemiro, that Liverpool could beat us 7-0 when everybody thinks these three defensive players are almost impossible to beat? Do you understand what I'm coming from? So if you want to go back in the past and change something, you cannot be sure that it would make it better.
Did I get some football credit then when I said that?
It was fantastic, love.
I'm buzzing about that now. You know.
Sorry, love. Anyway, go on. You were asking me a question.
It's all right. I've got some football credit in the bank of Ricky. I mean, I'm probably still in the minus section, but I'm getting back up there. I mean, I get you rational. I completely understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I think, isn't that obvious to most people?
It should be, but it's not, is it? Because that many people said to me, oh, if Casemiro would have played, we would have won. Oh, would we? How do you know that? You can't, because you're going back in the past and then predicting that we would have won. You can't do that. It's different.
International 26752675 says, Wout was wasteful yesterday. Should have had a hat-trick. Thoughts, Rickster?
I remember the one chance that he put over the bar, and I've since seen it back on the TV, and he was offside anyway. And I've seen.
Someone just commented, moral of the story: cross the ball and pray to God.
And the one that we weren't sure about watching it.
He was offside.
Not the offside one. The one where we said he should have scored when he was dead close in with his left foot. The defender got a great challenge in. And it deflected and went for a corner.
Oh, I seen
and the
that.
referee didn't realise it was a deflection.
I seen that.
So when you're at the game and people say, you've got to score that.
But you were watching that back,
but you would give any other player the benefit of the doubt there. If it gets deflected by a defender, there's not much you can do about it.
It's because the patience is thin.
Yeah, correct.
I think because he's missed it.
Correct.
Ten Hag did say in his press conference, Wout often gets himself in the right positions, but then it goes wrong. But he's happy he got his goal. So obviously he's a bit.
Let's hope it's opened the floodgates a little bit for him. I'd love him to score again at weekend.
I mean, I hope so. Back every player, and I hope he does.
When I say that, I've got to add this bit.
I only
want him to score because it'll appease the fans. I don't care who scores, myself.
Yeah.
But I do care because everybody else cares.
Because you want everyone to be on your.
I want everybody to realise. Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe says Weghorst got a 10% conversion rate or so. A top striker's got around 30. I don't know if that's true. I don't take that as gospel. But I mean, if it is, I mean, we know he's not converting all of his chances. We know that, and we know he's not a prolific number 9 that's going to score, 20 goals a season for Manchester United. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But he's a decent stopgap. I'll go as far to say that, and I'm really, really happy he has got his goal because I think he deserved it. He works tirelessly for the team, and I cannot fault his work rate. And he does play well for the team as well. It is a team game at the end of the day, like you always say. I just like him to score a couple more goals. But anyway, before Ricky started going off in his
on a tangent,
on his philosophical tangent and teaching everyone a lesson, I wanted to ask you before we round up the show, if Manchester United did sign Harry Kane in the summer, and we had the exact same squad as we've got now.
Ooh.
So if Harry Kane signed for Man United in the summer, we had the exact same squad as we've got now, who would be your starting front three for Man United?
Oh my goodness. I would play my starting front three, but it's never going to happen.
Yeah, but I just want your starting front three.
I would play Sancho on the right, I'd play Harry Kane at number 9 and Anthony Martial on the left.
Really?
Absolutely, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
we would score and score and score for fun.
You're still holding on to Martial at left wing, aren't you?
Well, you said the full squad.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to play on left wing again.
You didn't ask me that, did you?
I know, I didn't ask you that.
You asked me what I'd do.
But I'd ask you what you'd do.
Me what I'd
you know what? I'd really love Ricky to just take control for like a week or so and make it not count just in case it goes wrong. But I'd love.
We wouldn't have got beat 7-0 at Anfield, I'll tell you that for now. We'd have had everybody behind the ball and we'd have been hanging on for grim death.
Oh, God. Ricky, the chat is going bloody mental. People can't believe you've not put Rashford in there. Would Rashford be your first sub?
That's a tough one.
He's good coming on.
He is great coming on and he does score a lot of goals, but I love these wingers who get the ball across. If you've got Harry... I'll tell you what, here's an interesting one. If we do sign Harry Kane and Marcus is still playing on the left wing, who's going to put balls into Harry Kane? Is Harry Kane going to continue scoring goals at the rate that he normally scores?
For Rashford.
You know, do you understand what I mean?
Does.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to think Luke Shaw and Dalot will be crossing into the box, will develop that area of the game. Bruno Fernandes obviously creates multiple chances. Eriksen playing. So
it'd be nice if the wingers give him a few crosses, though, wouldn't it?
You'd like to think so. I mean, maybe Pellistri will be playing. Maybe he's worked his way into the team at that point. Sancho might be in the team. You don't know how fate kind of. You don't know how things kind of go on. I mean, I'm going to say my front three just because I just want the chat to calm down a little bit. My front three would be. It's tough because I really do like Anthony, but at the same time I really do like Sancho. But I'd have Rashford on the left, Harry Kane down the middle. At the best, I'd probably have Sancho on the right. But at the moment, I'd have Anthony just because I think Sancho's probably got more quality, but I think Anthony's got more. He's more of a warrior. He fights for the shirt. He looks like he wants to be on the pitch 24/7. He's so confident, and I like that about him. I really do, and I think there's a lot of potential there. But it's not a bad option to have both of them, to be honest with you.
You won't remember Ruud van Nistelrooy, will you, darling?
I mean, I've seen Ruud van Nistelrooy, but I don't remember
one of the greatest strikers I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely phenomenal player. And Ronaldo came into the team while Van Nistelrooy was playing, and Ronaldo was playing on the wing and was trying to get shots in and not putting the ball in the box. And Van Nistelrooy was tearing his hair out, and there was a fallout. And Ronaldo won the day. Obviously, he became a fantastic player at doing that, coming in from the wings, or even playing at 9 and scoring goals. But really, it was the end of Van Nistelrooy. So if you think of it this way, we're now looking at if we can sign a top-class number 9, and we're going to bring him into a team that's already got wingers that doesn't cross the ball. Back in Van Nistelrooy's day, a player came into the team that changed all that. At least he had joy for the first few years because he had players crossing the ball. And we're now looking at bringing a player in who relies on people getting the ball to him. And we're looking at playing wingers who are going to continuously cut in to shoot. I don't think he'd be very happy. Well, he might even cross his mind when he's thinking about signing or not.
I doubt it. I really highly doubt it. But with City, they have Haaland. Obviously, they have inverted wingers as well. How's he getting the ball?
Different gravy, that. City, a different class. Them inverted wingers for City, first of all, they can cross with either foot. Foden's fantastic on either side. Plus, they work at getting the full-backs behind, and the full-backs pull the ball back into the box a lot. Just don't compare us to City just yet.
I'm not comparing us to City, I'm just saying.
Yeah. They're inverted wingers.
I wanted to see your answer on that.
Yeah, they're different class.
And Gerald O'Donnell says, oh wait, no, not Gerald O'Donnell. I'm trying to, because the chat moves quick and I can't see it, but I wanted to read that one out. We says 100% agree with Ricky. Osimhen will not work if we're playing Rashford and Anthony along with him. I think it will. I also, though, massively agree with you. The T-shirt's out. That you are going to have more crosses going into the box when you have right footer on the right, left foot on the left. Unless your fullbacks are really getting involved and helping out. That's where, if we really want to develop with playing inverted wingers, I do think the fullbacks have to be more involved. Shaw does it, but sometimes you can see him retreat.
Something I noticed last night when I was watching the game back, Dalot supporting Anthony and not receiving the ball.
Really? Because I said on the show I didn't see
he was racing up and down
any relationship
that flank,
there whatsoever.
The relationship's not great because Anthony's not passing it to him. That's not Dalot's fault.
Eric Ten Hag's got a lot to work on. But look, Ricky, I really enjoyed the show. I really enjoyed the show. It's been a good show. Before we wrap it up, He hates doing this, but score prediction for Southampton.
Said 9-0 last night, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. I wanted to see if I could get it again. Get 2 copies.
It's the only team that have lost 9-0 twice in the league. Let's try and make it 3. I think
that was you trying to avoid giving a score prediction again, though, last night.
Go on, I'll go 2-0.
You go 2-0. I'm gonna go 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1 actually. But everyone, thank you so much for getting your comments in and being involved with the chat with us today. Get in the comments down below. Did you like the Beth and Ricky show? Should I bring it back again? I mean, we have these conversations sometimes, not on camera, don't we? But it's good to kind of get it on camera and get you guys involved as well. And yeah, get in the comments down below. Do you agree with Ricky? Would you have Harry Kane? Do you agree with me? Would you have Victor Osimhen? Just throwing Ricky to the Lions there with that one. But thank you everyone for getting your comments in down below. Make sure you like the video if you like it. Of course, if you like it, like the video. Also subscribe if you haven't already. And Ricky, thank you for being on.
Thank you, enjoyed it.
Thank you. Right, okay everyone, have a great afternoon, have a good Friday night. Mark's back with the 8 PM show. And remember, exciting stuff coming tomorrow afternoon on the United Stand. Keep an eye out. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye everyone.